Welcome to the Cracking On podcast with Sarah Roberts
and Sam Frost. This podcast is all about life's big, messy moments and how you just got to crack on with it. Our next guest ran Australian television for over a decade.
He's won 3 Gold Logies. He's interviewed everyone from Angelina Jolie to Elmo.
And when he's not doing that, he's a beautiful, doting dad and a hilarious stand-up comedian. This guest is extra special to me. He's been a huge mentor in my life. I personally thank him for a lot of my career success. He's a dear friend, someone I love dearly. It's Rove McManus.
Yay!
Thanks for doing this.
Wow, thank you, Sam.
We are so happy and excited to have you
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Thanks for coming
I was very
on.
excited to be asked to be here.
Thanks. Well, you are currently doing your stand-up show.
Oh, we're doing the plug early? Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
plug
Okay,
it
let's
in.
do it. Let's do it.
Well, because we actually thought this was quite interesting, and we thought we'll give it away nice and early because you're doing a bit of a weird twist on it. You're doing tonight's guest
Is me.
Rove
Yeah.
McManus.
Yeah.
And you're doing a bit of like a Q&A type vibe. Tell me about it.
Well, like you said, through your side mouth mumble tones. So I'm sort of looking back at what is essentially 30 years of everything, but mainly the TV side of things. So I'm showing clips and telling stories, and then there is a Q&A element to it, which is becoming shorter and shorter at every show, which I feel very bad about. I thought, it'd be fun just to do a question and answer show. I get asked a lot of stuff by people that I'm slowly finding turns into material.
Oh, great.
As you get asked the same questions over and over. So
Yes.
I'm sort of honing it. And I went, that's an easy show to do. So I'll just do that. And I'm very mindful that whatever I say in the show will probably get repeated. So the stories that I'm telling, I'm very acutely aware of what I'm putting out there.
Yes.
That's absolutely so true. I'm learning that at the moment. Like, there have been some things that I've said where I'm like, I wish I could just take that back, and people didn't know that. But is that why you're so private publicly now? Like, did something happen in the media? Did you overshare one time and then you learnt that way that you don't want to share anymore?
Yeah, it's like
things?
it's not even an oversharing thing. But my name is not Rove. My name is John. And a very quick Wikipedia search, which is all you have to do, will uncover that for you. I have been asked that a lot by people who think it's an amazing revelation. It's been a quiz question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or Millionaire Hot Seat.
Has it?
Yeah. So it's not like it's a secret. When I started out, I had a weird thing of I liked the idea of people thinking Rove was my actual name until I started discovering that people were calling their children Rove after me.
Were they?
And so there are genuinely little Roves walking around who their parents got in touch with me, not before, but after the fact, to say, I've named my child Rove, where does it come from? And me lying and saying, it's Celtic, it's my Irish background, when the fact is it's just a made-up nickname. Now, already having put that out there, that is now something that people might find interesting.
Yeah.
Which is also, to me, a sign of people not really doing homework anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so you looked at Wikipedia and went, his name's John. Did you do the second piece of follow-up, which is, has he talked about this before? It might be a revelation to you, but is it a revelation to anyone else? And then you very quickly discover, oh, no, this has been talked about a lot. How have you found it? Because I think when we first met, you were going through a lot of that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And almost that was part of your narrative in a way.
Yeah, because sometimes I just think, I can't believe I shared that. You know, when you first started out and the journalists are asking you questions, you want them to like you.
Yeah.
Because you want them to be kind to you and write a nice article, right? So I guess you're being a bit more generous and think, if I give them this little bit, then they're going to be kinder to me. And then I think I've quickly learned that it doesn't matter if you're kind to them. It doesn't matter if you're rude to them. Like, they'll like you for a bit, then they'll tear you down, then everyone hates you. Then they'll go, oh, no, she's all right, like you again. And, like, it just goes up and down and up and down. So you have to stop, like, thinking about it. And if I don't want to talk about it, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Well, Sarah just recently, do you mind sharing?
Absolutely, share it, yeah.
Yeah, Sarah's been burnt just recently about sharing. Do you want to
Are you talking about my endometriosis?
Yeah.
So I shared because it was Endometriosis Awareness Month last like in March, and I've got endo and I hadn't posted anything for the whole month, because sometimes I feel like it's a bit like, oh, woe is me, and I really try not to be like that. But I just wanted to post something to spread awareness and so that other women with endo would feel seen. And I posted something, and I've had fertility struggles in the past as well. And then I just got like, well, you know what? It was only 2 people, but 2 people just became, you know, that meme with Kermit where he's like with the typewriter. Sure. They just became like Kermit on the keyboard and just, you know, started saying that my post was like really insensitive because when I have an endo flare, I look pregnant. And they said it was really insensitive to people with fertility struggles. And then I said, well, that's kind of the point of, not the point, but that was why I was sharing it, because sometimes with endo, the saddest part is you're trying to fall pregnant and you can't because you have endo, and then you look like you are pregnant, and then people are like, are you pregnant? And it's just like this vicious cycle.
Oh, sure. But coming from someone whose profession is to make jokes about things,
yeah,
which is not saying that's what you did, but you often find if you overthink what you're going to say for that reason, it will just spiral, because there will always be someone whose personal bubble that they are in makes something more or less triggering or more or less offensive or more or less funny or not funny. And the unfortunate thing is, when it comes to online, they have a way of telling you that directly. Yeah. And again, it's incredible how you're saying to me 2 people out of what seems like however many.
Yeah.
I once called the journo out on this. I did the New Zealand project. So we had obviously the Australian version, and then we also had a New Zealand version. And I was asked to go and help be on the panel for the first New Zealand show. So they had someone who could kind of steady the ship if need be. So afterwards, for whatever reason, I was the one who was asked to do an interview after the show. So there was a journalist in the studio, watched the show, and then sat down with me and said words to the effect of, I was just looking at the comments online, and while most of them were positive, there were a lot of people who were saying that you were taking over the show a lot. And firstly, I was not told that we were going to be doing an interview afterwards. I was only there to sort of help out, and I thought it went really well, and everyone's enjoying the official after party for the very first show, and I'm told, can you go sit down with the journo who opens with that? And I just wasn't in the mood. Oh. And I said, well, firstly, let's look at 2 things. Firstly, you're saying to me, overwhelmingly positive but, and you choose to concentrate on the but. So that's the first thing. Let's just drill down on that. And the second part of that, before you even answer that question, is to say, and then what I'm being criticized for is the thing I was here to do, which is help out when the others are kind of lost and looking to me. I'll jump in and sort of help keep everything afloat. So what you're telling me is 2 really good things happen, but you're trying to tell me that they're 2 negative things. Maybe you should think about how you ask your questions a little bit better. And then I was like, shall we keep going? And it was just that thing of like, if I may, fuck you. Fuck you.
Absolutely.
Who are you? What are you talking about? So the idea that, we want to talk about there were some people who didn't like something. Yeah, you name anything. And there was a lot of people who for a time went, being a Nazi is not a bad idea. Like there's always people, like it's never overwhelmingly, we are all in either one side or the other. It's always split. Sometimes it's not an even split, but you can pick absolutely anything and go, some people didn't like that, or a lot of people did, and it's just a ridiculous thing to sort of get too caught up in that. If you've got a lot of people supporting your post.
Yeah, and I had to focus on the, 739 other people that, loved the post, and whatever, it's a post, but that's so great to hear. I guess when you were doing Rove Live back in the 2000s, was Instagram and stuff around then?
Only towards the end in our last few years when we moved to Sunday and we had Hamish and Andy on board and Carrie was in a more prominent role when we sort of, for what most people probably remember the show as. Yes, it was also Twitter, but also Twitter wasn't the bin fire it is now. It was actually a really lovely way to communicate with people. But yes, we did have some social media, to answer your question. Yes.
You know what I loved, and I don't know if it still happens, when celebrities read out mean tweets on, is it Jimmy Kimmel?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you
I
guys
can't.
ever?
I'm too weak. I can't do that. I have a
Yes.
very soft shell.
Yeah.
I don't like roasts.
Just going back on what you were saying before about people can either take things positively or negatively. Do you think it affects your comedy and when you're writing your comedy?
I've never really been one to hit big targets. Like I do very day-to-day general observations. That's where I find sits best for me, at the risk of sidetracking too much. But like when September 11 happened, which happened at the end of one of our shows, we can potentially come back around to that. But that was like obviously a very big deal because as a show, we didn't know how to address something like that. It was just too big and too serious. That's where we were at as a show. So my stand-up tour in that iteration, I felt like I wanted to say something that had a bit more teeth to it. So I had routines about what was happening politically at the time. I did tell a few stories about people who had been on the show and sort of maybe, had a bit of a dig at them and just showed a bit more teeth than I normally would on stage. And I had some people say it kind of backfired where they were like, why aren't you more like that on the show? Because that was really interesting and seeing that sort of side of you. I think now what people want is they just want to be entertained. I'm not there to make you think. I've seen shows where that's what people do and it suits some people. But for me, I don't overthink any joke I'm going to make. Of course, I also don't think that, have a routine about why I think Granny Smith apples are dumb apples. I don't think that's... And I've been in an audience where someone's like, well, I like Granny Smith. It's like, okay, fine.
Shut up, nerd.
But it's also like, yeah, for what? For putting in a pie? Like that's not...
Yeah.
The pie's doing the heavy lifting. The sugar's doing the heavy lifting. Like it's not the Granny Smith apple. Anyway, I have very strong views about Granny Smith apples as well. Getting some big targets today. This is going to get some clicks, guys. I'm just saying.
Pretty much your entire career, right, has been live, like live comedy, whether it be telly or stage.
And radio too, I guess, to a certain extent.
And radio. Has there ever been a time on stage where you've had like a panic attack or just lost it and had to save yourself or does it just
a panic attack? No.
Yeah.
But certainly nerves.
Yeah.
And I say this to my daughter even now, like sometimes she'll be nervous before something.
Yeah.
If she has to, for the few times she's had to give a presentation at school or something. I think she's very much like me in that she has it in her to be fun, but the reason why she enjoys doing that is not for everybody else's benefit. So when she's around the house, she's a crack up. But as soon as, we have friends over and we say, hey, Ruby, do that thing. She just suddenly goes, like if it becomes a performance, suddenly she doesn't want to play. And I think that was me when I was younger till I discovered how much I get out of it, but more importantly, how much I get out of it from other people. But I always say to her, if you get nervous beforehand, it's because you care. If you don't get, it's like nervous is not something to be worried about. Nervous is not you saying, I can't do this. Nervous is you saying, I want to get this right and I want it to be good. So what nervous should do is have you stop and think, have I got everything organized? Have I remembered all my lines? Have I practiced this enough? And that is your indication, is how nervous are you? And a little bit of nerves also means sometimes it can just be you're excited. I started performing when I was year 3 and my teacher said to my parents, hey, he's got this really incredible imagination and we don't quite have a good outlet for it. So you should enroll him in like some sort of acting classes or something after school. And then the first time I had to get up and perform in front of the group by myself, I suddenly froze. And that's when I felt everybody looking at me and I felt very self-conscious and I realized, I've only ever done this in the safety of a group environment. And I didn't clam up, but I got very quiet in my performance. And the teacher said, so how do we all think that went? Anyone got any notes? And everyone just sort of sat there and then one person sort of sheepishly put up their hands and went, we couldn't quite hear what you were saying. And then a friend of mine got up a few after me and he was magnificent. You could hear what he was saying. He conveyed his idea very clearly. And I distinctly remember in that moment going, I will never let myself be nervous again. Next time I have the opportunity to get up in front of people, I'm not going to waste that opportunity by making nerves ruin my volume and my performance and have everyone kind of go, it could have been good, but we don't know. We couldn't hear him.
Oh,
when I saw
darling.
my friend and I was looking at him going, brilliant, magnificent. I need to be like that next time.
Isn't that beautiful? That little 6-year-old would be so proud of you now. Like,
Well, I hope so, if I could hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
You know? I have notes. Young Rove. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
cute.
darling.
But do you ever have moments like that where I call them time machine moments, like that idea if you could go back in time and, forget butterfly effect rubbish or Back to the Future, ugh, my mum's hot, that stuff, but more, if you could go back and see yourself in that moment, like what you would say or what, to be able to sit there going, hey, that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's like I always feel that's that one of just like, when I'm a struggling comedian in Melbourne, I'm in a flat by myself earning nothing, and I look at my bank account and I go, I have one of two options. I pay my rent this month or I eat this month. That's what I have up my sleeve. To then knock at the door and there's me from the future going, hey, how are you? Just letting you know I'm from the future. Everything's great. Here, have a gold logie. I've got plenty. And also, see that poster of that good-looking actress on the wall that you like? You'll be married soon enough anyway. So all the best, and just keep doing what you're doing. You'll be fine.
that is brilliant.
It'd be nice to. So even now, I just sit there thinking, I don't know what my end story is. So even though I've had a good run, it's this is a weird business. There's ups and downs, but you always think that you don't know what the future you is.
Yes.
Still potentially has the ability to come back and tell you.
Yeah, I've been doing that a little bit now. I mean, I've always done that for Tiny Sam because Tiny Sam, she needs me. But in terms of like career-wise, I've done that in the last few years a lot because I've had a lot of time off.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to tell myself, because it's weird coming off a show, like for 5 years, I was working very consistently, like 6 days a week, and that all finished. And then, I was obviously having my babies and life was, I was being a mum. But it was funny to go, I remember telling myself, it's just not your time right now. Like, it's not your time. You don't know what's around the corner. Like, something cool might happen to you. So I think I've like had to visualize future me coming back saying, you're going to work again and everything's going to be fine. I don't know what it is.
But what I've always admired about you is that you put that part of you first. Like the most important part of you is the internal you. It's the emotional you. It's the mental you. And that's what keeps you stable. If you were to turn around and say, oh, okay, I'll put that to the side because I've got this momentum behind me that I might not have again. And if I get off the treadmill, could I get back on, and will I be able to work again at this level or that level, and blah, 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 blah. Well, then that's the wrong reasons to make those decisions.
Yeah.
It's always that, looking at what everyone else is doing and worrying about that as opposed to just running your own race. Because that's what I've always done. I was the last person in my graduating class of comedians to get signed to the management label, to get on TV, to start earning full-time money from it. I was doing Channel 31 community TV for free.
Yeah,
In fact, it cost me $50 to pay the makeup lady every week. So I was out of pocket to do it. While all my friends are on the ABC or hosting their own radio shows and headlining or doing solo shows during the comedy festival. And I wasn't there yet. But I found joy and fulfillment in doing this little show that only a handful of people could watch. But then when it clicked, I leapfrogged everybody.
Mm.
And then years later, when I've got other comedians or people in the industry saying, oh, I want to do what you're doing. So I've signed to doing Channel 31 and I've been at it for 2 years and nothing's happened. Do you have any advice? And my advice was then stop doing it, because you should keep doing that for 5, 10, 15 years because it brings you joy. And you've decided you want to be on Channel 31 because you enjoy being on Channel 31. If it's a means to an end, that's the wrong reason. Go do something else. Get a camera and put a YouTube channel together and get spotted that way. Like I didn't go to 31 because I went, this is how Channel 9 will find me.
Yeah.
This is how they'll do it. It was because someone said, would you like to do this show? And I went, yeah, that sounds fun. And then I did it and went, oh my God, this is what I need to do. This is my calling. And this is what. will bring me joy for, I feel, the rest of my life.
No, that's very sweet. I remember you saying to me, and it always sticks with me, you said to me when I was asking for career advice, you said your career is what you say no to, not the things you say yes to.
Yes.
And I repeat that all the time to people, and I'm like, well, Rove told me this once. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah. Like even now for me, like it's really lucky that like even at the time people were saying to me, because we had celebrated 10 years of doing the TV show in September of 2009, and then by November I was done and didn't tell anyone I was done. I kept it a big secret. So I've gone from celebrating 10 years, and a lot of that had come with people saying, you've done 10, how many more could you do? And I was like, I don't know, maybe another 10. We'll see. But in that time, it had me being a bit more reflective of it. And part of my decision was based on, where do I feel the show will be in another 10 years or another 5 years or another 3? And I was like, I don't know that the show will be where it needs to be in 3 years. We're on a real up trajectory, and I could feel maybe we're about to reach the crest of the roller coaster and come back down again, which we had done before. And if you've got the backing of your network, that's fine. But I wasn't 100% sure that we did. So I thought better to stop now and have people look back fondly at the show then keep going for another 5 years and have people go, that thing's still on air? Oh, my God. And that I would much rather people say, I missed that show and I wish it was back on, than say, be eye-rolling that it's still this dusty thing that's, just still conking along somehow.
And after you finished on Rove Live here in Australia, you went to America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to work with Jay Leno.
Yeah.
And you had your own show.
Yeah.
Too. So how was that?
So fun.
Yeah, okay, good.
Sam came and hung out in LA for a little bit. We were doing some other stuff. I loved LA. I still miss LA a lot. Both Tasma and I do a lot.
Yeah, I've spent a bit of time there and I loved it. But I feel like maybe the landscape has changed a bit now.
Well, yes. The Hollywood doesn't exist almost. And it's now obviously a lot of the tech companies are now running things.
But talk shows are still so huge over there. Do you think they're
they're just
here?
clinging on though.
Oh,
very barely. Yeah. James Corden finished up and then they didn't replace him with another host. They just said, we're not going to do that show anymore. So that's
true,
the
actually,
12:30 show. So they put in another comedy panel show at 12:30. They did, I think, one season of that. Then they just went, no, don't worry about it. I don't even know what's on 12:30 after Stephen Colbert anymore. Mm-hmm. And when I was there was a lot.
It was the thing to do. I actually saw Vince Vaughn talking about it recently, and he said that it feels too political and it's not funny anymore because you know what networks are like. They're saying you got to say this and this is the angle and this is what the joke is and don't say that. And so I kind of think it's ruining the shows and people just
Well, also, similar to here, I have people say to me, why is there no show like this on anymore?
Yes.
And I sometimes have to be very honest and say, if there was, would you watch it? So that's also playing into why their numbers are dropping. And they're with those hosts, very expensive shows to make.
Yeah. I saw that clip you posted when you were pretending you won an Oscar.
Oh, yeah, that was for The Tonight Show. Yeah.
And I thought, that is so fun. And I think you should post more of those clips because A, they're hilarious, and B, it just makes me go, I love you so much.
There's
cool.
one of my favorites, which I must get to, is the first one I did where they sent me to what is called an eel pout, which is just like it's a cross between an eel and like what I would call like a catfish, I guess. And it's a festival, a weekend-long festival on a frozen lake where in the northernmost part of the US. And it's so cold, this lake freezes over. They bring trailers out and they drive out onto the ice and then they unhitch their like caravans and then they camp there for a weekend and try to catch all these eels from the middle of the ocean. They carve a huge hole in the ice and you get to jump into the ice. And so I was tasked with jumping into the ice. And clever me went, well, I should probably wear a costume because it'll make me a little bit warmer. So they dressed me as a kangaroo. And all these other people are jumping in just in board shorts and, bathing suits. And I'm like, I'm the smartest guy in the room until I realized it's not about jumping into the water, which is very cold, but when you get out, the air is so cold on the surface that any water instantly freezes to your body.
Oh, God.
So everyone else is just practically bare naked, just in bathing suits. So they just quickly get out and put a towel on. I am in a sopping wet kangaroo suit, which became like an anchor. It filled the pouch filled with water, and I started sinking. And so they had divers in the water who had to help me out. And then everyone's like, hey, look at the dumb Australian in the kangaroo suit with the film crew. Hey, can we get a photo? So I suddenly was delayed walking from the frozen hole to where the steam room and showers were. By the time I got there, I'm freezing, absolutely freezing. I grabbed with my suit, grabbed the handle of the door to get into where the bathroom is. And I opened and I let go, and the door would not release. It had frozen to my mitt of my costume. That's how cold it was. Extraordinary.
They must go, what stupid person can we send out that'll do this? And you're like, bro,
Yeah.
you're so good at committing to a joke.
Yes, yes, and.
You're so good at it. And like, that's probably one of the things that I learned working with you was like, you're like, you just got to commit. You just got to commit. And I'm like, I don't want to commit. And you're like, commit. And like, it's so true. Like you just have to go for it. And you're the best at doing that.
I think, well, that's the fun of it. People have often asked what's the key to not success, but my success in particular. But for me, it's enjoy what you do. Also just actually enjoying it. Like if you say yes to it, then you got to commit to it and make the best of it. And sometimes it doesn't quite end up being what you'd hoped. But with what you've got, you find the positive. You find, as my wife would say to me, the annoying glass half full of it all, because that's what I have. She is glass half full, but the glass is half full of poison. That's her attitude to life. But I bought her once. There's a Curb Your Enthusiasm glass that you can buy, and it's got a line through the middle of it, dead center, and the bottom half says half empty, and the top half says half empty, and that's her glass. So she can sometimes be a bit Eeyore with the cloud above her head, going, "Oh, it's all going horribly wrong," and then there's me just do 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 do.
You're the Tigger.
Oh, look at that. And then go, oh, look, a bird. And then I'm distracted for 20 minutes.
Well, you're going to answer our question that we ask everyone on this podcast really well then, because we usually ask all of our guests if there was like a time in their life where they feel like they've just like hit rock bottom and they've had to find a way to sort of crack on with life. So we ask, I guess, if they have a story they feel comfortable sharing.
I know there was one time being at the Logies as a former Gold Logie winner, you get an invite every year regardless. But I was on the table that was nearest to where the catering was coming in and out. No shade to anyone sitting at the catering tables. You got to sit somewhere. But it was very much on the peripheral of the entire room. And I had nothing to do. I wasn't presenting. I wasn't nominated. I was just there. And I kind of realized as shows were getting up and people were getting up and just as the night was wearing on, I had a genuine feeling of, I think my industry has moved on without me. I feel like I've just I get that there are peaks and troughs, but this feels like not just a trough. It's like, oh no, you're off altogether and we're moving on. So it was a real low point. I was there by myself, I'm pretty sure. Tasman wasn't there because I remember coming home and kind of going, oh, I was really flat. Because normally if she was there, if the two of us are there together, we got each other's back. You can just sort of sit and even just have someone to talk to during the ad breaks. But when you're sort of getting to the break and you're sort of looking around because you're just there by yourself. And I didn't have any work prospects. But at the time even, I think I remember being asked to do a job that was a game show and I didn't want to do it. And probably, would you go eat something's ass in the jungle probably came up. And I remember saying to my manager, if this is all I'm being offered, I think I might be done. I think this is probably it. I'll just say that. I just went into, at that point, just going, I'm now out of the radio rut, which was, the hours are very difficult. Also, we were feeling the pressure in more ways than anyone can understand unless you were there going through it. So it was very difficult. I wasn't around a lot. I was really grumpy. I think I was the worst version of myself I've ever been from doing that. Just I was tired. I was emotional. I was feeling the pressure. I was feeling I wasn't being listened to at all. I was feeling a bit disrespected, I think was a word I used once. And so I just went, you know what I'm going to do is just be the best dad I can, because right now that's what I do have. And that's what I haven't been maybe while everything else has been going on. And Ruby was still quite young. She was only 3, would have been 3 at the time. So I just went, I'm going to be an awesome dad, and that's going to be my new job. And that's what I will get my joy and fulfillment out of. But as far as, I think I had the realization that, well, what am I missing? And it's missing the joy of connection, of the feedback and response that you get from the joy that you put out and get back from other people by performing. Well, I give out joy and get back joy tenfold from being a dad. Like, that's incredible. That's the greatest role I've ever had in my life. I feel in some respects it's the part I was always born to play. I'm the biggest kid in the world. To have this tiny human being that you can mold into enjoying fart jokes and Doctor Who and professional wrestling and birds, but then now she's now at an age in her very early teens at 12 is teaching me about anime and Demon Slayer and 6, 7. And then when I do that, she goes, don't, Dad, that's cringe apparently. Oh. And I love that. I love that. So I found my way through before then the work started up again. And it was all fine. And again, it was the work that I wanted to do and I found was fulfilling. But I was ready to go, if that's it, that's it. But if it is it, that's my choice. And I think that's a big part of it. Wherever you find yourself in life, you find that happiness, you find that tiny light at the end of the tunnel, you find that little ember that's left in a fire that you think is extinguished, and you care for it. Don't dump on it with, you know, I use this example all the time with my daughter. It's like, if you find that little something, that whatever it is, it's that little bit of positivity, you feed it gently, feed it very, very gently. Don't, like you would with a fire, like again, we watch Survivor, don't just pile a bunch of sticks on it and then go, oh, now it's gone out. Yeah, you've got to be gentle with it. And then if you do it properly, it will turn into a roaring flame that no one can extinguish. So it's just finding your way through those moments. And again, look back on how many you've had on the way to where you are now. And that if you were in that slump, in the middle of that slump, and you had future you jump out of their time machine to go, oh, no, you got no idea how good it gets. Oh, and then it goes back down again, but then it goes back up. And you would go, oh, yeah, that's the path behind me as well. It was really great. Then it wasn't, but then it is again. When you're in that pit, of course it feels like it's the worst. But there's always a way out. You just got to believe it and find the joy, find that light and follow it. And I sincerely believe you can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Little Ruby.
I know.
She's fun.
Yeah.
But you know what it's like. You know, being a parent, how do you find with the boys though?
Oh, the best. I'm exactly the same. Like, I just think there is nothing else. Like, who cares? But I'm a big conspiracy theorist.
Oh yes.
So when I'm like in that rabbit hole and I got my tinfoil hat on and I'm like, oh man, I need to build a bunker. I can't build one quick enough. And I look at my boys and I'm like, nah, it's all right. And then they just bring so much joy and peace. And like, I'm just like, who cares? Like, things like social media. Remember, I used to get really caught up with social media, like the criticism and the comments. And I don't give a fuck what you're saying. Like, I get to hang out with my boys all day and I can promote the work I'm doing. And when I'm not doing that, I'm in a really extremely privileged position. So you can write your comments and whatever. I'm just like, I'm going to check it out. Thanks.
You guys love a bit of side mouth.
Yeah, it's Rove. Rove brings out the side mouth.
Side mouth is great. One of my favorite things to do is with Ruby is to go, you can have an ice cream before dinner, but don't tell Mum it came from me. And then she'll go, why are you talking out of your mouth? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say it out loud. Well, you are saying it out loud. And now I see she does it and it's just, I'm paying the comedy forward, which is great.
Yeah.
But I often say, I feel this also illustrates my point. It is very easy for me to say, well, don't read the comments, because I don't read the comments. I also come from a generation where you didn't have to read the comments because there were no comments to read. If you're an emerging talent at the moment in whatever way you might be doing it, you are predominantly living online. You have to. It's impossible. I'm 52 now and I'm like, oh, I get it now. And I'm much more proactive on platforms like TikTok that I didn't think were for me. And I'm like, oh, no, I can see that there's a benefit in it. And it's all about the reels, baby. I get it. But it's easy for me to be able to say, well, yeah, because if you want to attack me now, there's nothing you can attack me with. I have the most battle-proof armor. You're not funny. Yes, I am. Oh, yeah, well, you're not doing anything now. Mate, I have a show that I'm doing now that is talking about all the success I have had. Do you want to look at my shelf to see how much success? Like, what do you want? I have a wonderful family life that you don't even know about. Like, I have so much joy. I have had so much success, and I know I'm not done. I absolutely know I'm not done. There's no reason for me to be able to say for certainty, but I've always had this wonderful compass inside me that has go this way. Even like I said before, people think I moved to the States because there was work there. I moved to the States because I didn't want to be in Australia and regret my decision. There was opportunities. There was little carrots that were being dangled to maybe go there. So it was Tasma who said, well, maybe we should just go be there. Then you don't start next year with look at all these new shows or, what if someone else takes over from your job with a new talk show and you go, what have I done? What have I done? The best way to avoid that, be on the other side of the country. And then you won't regret your decision because we'll be doing our own thing there. For you, Sam, I love seeing you traveling with your family in a caravan and also, feels like you get some
I'll get some soon.
And it's like, imagine being paid to go on a holiday with your family and have a great time of it. And to be here now, like I'm envious of the two of you going, this is what I would love to be doing. This to me is the future of what I used to do on network TV. You say, what about network TV? I say, this is what it is.
And you can say what you want.
You can say what you want. It's like, how easy is it to set these up? You don't need a studio or a network to give you permission to do this. You just do it. And we just text each other and say, do you want to cut? Love to. Absolutely. So I think sometimes we worry too much about everybody else, when if you looked at it from other people's perspective, your life's pretty great. And when they see and yes, we can cherry pick, well, you don't know the real bad side of, well, when I get home, sometimes I'm worrying about the finance. We all do that. Or what my next job opportunity is. We all do that. But for that part that people see, that positive side that you put out there, why not just cling to that? Because that's wonderful. That's joyous. And we all have that. So that to me is a really important thing that I think everybody should do more of is look at what you've got in your own life and how great it really, really is.
That's so great. You're so great, Rove. I just want a little pocket Rove. You're just in my pocket whenever I need encouragement, just to be like, what should I do?
And again, I know it's easy for me to say because I've had the success, but all of that comes from me thinking this way the whole time. And right now, I'm technically unemployed. I'm not producing a TV show. I'm trying to get into this sort of digital space, but want to do it properly. So it's like little baby steps. I'm doing some fresh online interviews with people, but the idea is hopefully that can blossom into something more. Don't extinguish the little survivor fire just yet. But in the meantime, I've gone, well, what else can I do? I can tour a show and remind people of what I've done. It was also great for my daughter to come and see it, to go, oh, that's what Dad did. One of the greatest reviews I've got so far, my 29-year-old niece came with a friend of hers. Her friend after the show said to me, hey, she was buzzing. And she went, oh my God, hey, I still have no idea who you are, but that was amazing. And I'm going to text my mum because I think she would know who you are. And I'm going to tell her that I met you. Yes. And then straight after that, I'm going onto YouTube. And I said, you do that.
That is so great.
And it's like, that's another thing I have is this wonderful sort of time capsule of what I've got to put out there now that may reignite something, or at the very least, people will just come away going, geez, what a wonderful stroll down memory lane that was.
Well, I notice every single time you post anything, and myself included, I'm also in the comments, everyone is like, please, we just want you to be doing this again. We just love you so much. And your humor's so unique. Like there's no one else quite like you, I don't think. And I'm not just saying that because you're my friend. I love you so much. But yeah, I just think it's amazing. And like, I don't know. I just think it's amazing. And I feel like you're so deeply, deeply missed doing what you do. This is what you need to do. Get a microphone and go outside. And that's it.
Sure.
And like in general, like you just are so good with like people and like improv and thinking on your feet and doing dumb things. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you're going to do next.
Look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm excited about what the future holds. I don't even really know what it's going to be yet. That's part of the fun.
All right. Now
was
you
difficult.
Now you have to read fortune cookie.
Fortune cookie.
Yeah, just at the end, I'm going to read out.
What do you think of fortune cookies at the risk of destroying your segment?
Oh, look, I like them when the fortune's good.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I think they're delicious, and sometimes they're all right.
And I have a little trick that I do at the end of people's
I've ripped it in
fortunes
half.
sometimes that makes me like them more, but we'll see what happens.
It's probably baked into the thing.
Oh, you got a dud.
Oh, it's a phone number.
Oh, yeah, there's numbers on the back.
Yeah,
Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the time I ruined a magician's life? Just quickly. Remember we went to that magician's cave or magician's thing?
We went. It's the Magic Castle in Los Angeles.
The Magic Castle. Well, this is actually, and I'm just going to quickly tell this story while we're wrapping up because
Can I do a quick preamble?
Go for it.
So the Magic Castle is a club for magicians in Los Angeles. It is in an old mansion on a hill. It's magicians only. You can only get into the club if you know a magician.
I've been.
Here we go.
Yep.
Rove knows a magician, obviously. We went there. It was so fun. It was so fun. But then the magician was like doing this big trick and he was doing it in front of like all his magician friends. And he said to me, he's like, all right, choose a card. And I chose a card and he's like, remember the number. And in my head, I'm going like 4 of hearts, 4 of hearts, 4 of hearts. And they do some sort of trick where they're I don't get the trick, obviously, because it didn't happen. And then at the end...
He's trying to suggest something to you in the meantime.
Yeah. So he's like trying to like trick my brain into saying the card. And then he goes, is this your card? And I said, no. Oh. And he's like, and I was like... Well, it wasn't. Like, and then I remember Rove being like, oh, no, they chose the wrong person.
Because also sometimes that's the trick is they do a little misdirect of... oh, is this your card? And you go, no. And everyone in the crowd is like, oh, no, you got it wrong. And then he goes, oh, that's so embarrassing. Anyway, wait, what's that in your pocket? And then you pull out the card. Like that's part of the trick.
Yeah.
And then I very quickly realized, no, he's just was meant to be planting something. But you were too much in your own head of like, remember the card? What was the card? And he could have been saying, and then that's where I buried the body.
Oh, no.
Tell the police. And then you're just like, 4 of hearts.
Yeah. So anywe,
But watching him just crush and crumble.
Oh, man.
So yeah, our fortune cookie bit got ruined. Like the time I ruined a magician's joke.
Oh, but don't worry, guys. I have a trick.
Oh, what is
Okay.
your trick?
Well, if you could just talk amongst yourselves for a little bit, because I have a little trick. So just look at each other and just.
I don't know what you're doing right now.
Oh, just a little trick.
How was your birthday? What did you do for your birthday?
Hung out with my babies. It was really nice. And then my brothers came over, and my brother, who's a truck driver, was like,
Is this Al? El's no.
No,
What is Al
my
doing
big
now?
brother. Al's just like, he's actually just coding like a little nerd. Yeah, he's coding. But my, I have no idea what Sarah's doing. But
She's unwrapping 10 layers of paper.
But my brother, my big brother, who's a truck driver, he came over to surprise me, and he's like, oh, and he brought me a cake with candles. He's like, I just didn't want you sucking on your birthday, which is his way of going,
Yes.
I love you and I care
That's
for you.
very adorable.
And
For your
it's okay.
family, that's
That's
adorable.
a pretty adorable thing to do.
Speaking of...
I thought we could sing Sammy Happy Birthday.
That's nice.
It's public domain now, so we are good to go.
I don't know how these work. Hopefully it
Oh,
starts.
we have to light a little bit of
there
the
we
wick.
go.
Here we go.
So
So for our
Lovely.
crackheads, we got a little gluten-free brownie
Thank you.
with a candle on
Are
the
you
top.
GF?
Thank you.
I just thought it was healthy. kind of
Okay,
idea.
we have a brownie with a very large wick. So we have plenty of... It's sparking a bit. Don't panic. There's a lot of smoke alarms. Here we go.
That's so nice.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sammy. Happy birthday to you.
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Oh.
Oh,
Yay!
oi.
Oh, thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Do you wish?
Nice.
Do you make wishes?
Yeah, of course, 100%. You're gonna make it real. Hang on, I'll just do a quick wish.
She's closing her eyes.
Yeah.
For the listener, Sam is closing her eyes.
Oh, she's
That was a very prominent wish.
Yeah.
I just noticed how incredible your nails both look, by the way.
Oh,
Have you
Thanks, I
had,
got
are
them
they the same?
done. I just got them done.
They're slightly different shades, aren't they?
Yeah.
And different colours. Yeah.
There we
Different
go.
shapes.
On that
That's it.
bombshell,
Rove McManus, thank you so much for joining us.
an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
We love you.